Tom Aspinall is done waiting. Tom Aspinall just made it crystal clear. He's done waiting on Jon Jones. In a new interview with Daniel Cormier and Chael Sonnen, Tom didn't hold back.
Nah, man, John's retired. What are you talking about, guys? John, you guys don't follow John on social media? Too, actually. Me in his best life. He's had a fantastic career, we all know. We know John's a religious man, so I want to say God bless him moving forward in what he does with his life and his career. And, you know, we move on. We move on. I'm the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. I'm ready to take on all comers, get this division moving again. Us guys have been waiting around too long. You know, the contenders are getting sick of it. Everybody's getting sick of it. Even the fans are getting sick of this stuff. So John's retired and it's time that we move on.
And just to make sure nobody missed the message, he reposted it on Instagram with a farewell note to Jon and a call out to the UFC. The heavyweight division just got a wake-up call. Jon Jones's locker room controversy resurfaces. But Jon Jones wasn't out of the headlines for long. A disturbing locker room story from Big John McCarthy just resurfaced, and it's going viral.
But when I went into Jon's locker room, he's bouncing around, he's having a good time, and he said, "I got a question for you. I said, "Yeah, what's your question?" And he says, "I need somebody." And there's an individual there, and that individual was a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and was working for the commission. And he says, "Is someone getting on the ground for me, right?" And so this guy, being a ground guy, and being someone that was, man, I'm in Jon Jones's locker room. This is great. And so he says, "Oh, I'll do it for you." He says, I know how to roll." And so he goes down. He says, just put me in guard, right? And then Jon decides to do a sexual act with him, saying, "What if I do this, right? This isn't illegal, right?" And the guy who was on the ground, quickly his eyes went, as big as they could get, like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Jon, knock it off, right?" And I helped the person up, and he goes, "I'm just joking." And he goes, "But really, what could you do?" I said, "I could disqualify you for being unsportsmanlike. Go ahead and do it. Let's see what happens."
I could see if he did that like with a buddy of his, like goofing
That's
around
different.
in the back. It's different than some random commissioner in the back, a random fan, a random person who's working as an usher or something like that. You're like, "Yeah, get down here," and then you do it to some person you've never met before. It just
and that's why Greg Jackson comes up to me and says, "Jon, I'm sorry he did that." And I go, "Greg, it ain't you." And I go, "He's just a dick."
Yep. I mean, like I said, a lot of the choices that he's made throughout his life has directly affected, I think, how people perceive him.
Yeah.
This isn't a good look, especially for a fighter who's already had his reputation shredded by past controversies. Macy Barber's last-minute fight fallout. UFC Vegas 107 was thrown into chaos when Macy Barber suffered a medical emergency, just moments before walking out. Reports say she had a seizure.
6-9. 1-9, 6-9 start. No, we won't be.
And to make matters worse, she missed weight for the fight. Her opponent, Erin Blanchfield, didn't let it slide. She got her full paycheck, show and win money, but went off afterward. Erin blasted Macy, saying her life is a mess, and maybe it's time for her to move divisions altogether. Macy finally responded on Instagram. She thanked fans for the support and apologized to UFC brass. "This is just a bad hand," she wrote, denying that her life is messy and vowing to figure things out. Sean Strickland's retirement plan revealed.
Net worth is probably about $4 million. Liquid. When I say liquid, I mean investments.
Gotcha. I
have about $500,000 in real estate, and the rest is in like different accounts. By the time I'm done fighting, worst case scenario, I'll probably have like a net worth of like 8 to 10 million.
And you could just live off that.
I could live off that. I would do about a 5% withdrawal. So 5% withdrawal of like 8 million, was it like 400,000?
A year, yeah.
Yeah, so when I'm done, I'll probably be making about 400K a year at a 5% withdrawal. Now, mind you, I'm still gonna leave 5% in to grow.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I won't stop. Like, I like to work.
Merab's toe injury. Still swollen. Aljamain Sterling just posted a new interview with Merab Dvalishvili, and it revealed a worrying detail.
I was from Thursday or Saturday. I was I sparring with you 3 rounds, and after I go with Cameron.
Yeah.
And I landed him like my kick, and then that's when I pelted. And yeah, I pelted. It was weird. I finished the round. It was no problem. And yeah, like in nighttime, I feel the pain. I put the ice, but next day still was swallowing and black and blue.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it wasn't, but it's still chubby. It's still like fat, but like it's a little toe, and then not really. Like now, I feel it every time I kick. Now feel it, but like when I walk, no problem.
Yeah.
But if I kick, this toe feels, but it's I should be fine. I still have like 8 days.
Yeah, I figured it wasn't bothering you too much, because I mean, normally like people would say something, but I haven't heard you say anything about it, like watch this or anything like that. So yeah, so I wasn't sure if it was like.
Now he's got just days to recover before UFC 316. He insists he'll be ready. But if it's still hurting every time he throws a kick, that could be a big issue come fight night. Jon Jones reflects on DC rivalry. In a rare moment of self-reflection, Jon Jones opened up about the darkest rivalry of his career, his feud with Daniel Cormier. According to Jon, it aged him. "I fight out of love," he said, "but with DC it was hate. I hated him so much I trained on Christmas Day just to beat him." Jon admitted it got too real. Behind the scenes, he once told Cormier he'd kill him. "We thought the cameras were off," Jon said, "but we were still live." They even fought in a hotel lobby before their official bout. For Jon, this wasn't just a sport. It turned personal. And that kind of energy took its toll on both fighters. Kayla Harrison fires back at PED accusations. Kayla Harrison is tired of the rumors, and she just clapped back at Juliana Pena in a big way. Pena accused her of using PEDs ahead of their fight this weekend.
I will say that back then in the Olympics, she looked, like a girl, very feminine, and now she looks super juicy and like cut up.
Kayla didn't mince words.
I mean, I think it just, for me, it kind of screams insecurity. Like, when I see her talk or when I hear some of the stuff she says, I feel like it's fear. And it's not personal for me. Like, she could say whatever she wants about me. At the end of the day, we get locked in a cage, and that's where I'm going to do my talking. And I don't know why she has. I think that's just who she is. I think that's part of her shtick, like she's the same way with me that she was with me. Like, she always is kind of yapping. So I think that's just her personality. And I just feel bad that she lives life that way. Sounds like a terrible existence. It's just like she's always like, she's kind of always throwing spaghetti at the wall. Like, before I signed with UFC, it was like, well, if she wants to be in a real promotion, she has to make a real weight, and 135 is where it's at. And so then I signed with the UFC and I cut down to 135 pounds, and now I'm a weight bully. But like, that's the only weight class they have. Like, it's not my choice. Like, and I mean, the steroids thing is just like, again, it's funny to me. I've never taken steroids. I got drug tested for the first time when I was in middle school, because that was when I was in the top 5 on the national roster for judo. And so that's when the USADA started testing. And I've been tested probably more than any athlete in the UFC. One time I got tested 4 times in a month, like just because between WADA, like the tournaments I went to and I competed at, I got tested there. And then I got tested when I got home, and like, so she can say whatever she wants, but I know I'm clean. And again, I work really, really fucking hard. Like,
she called the whole thing ridiculous and says she'll do her talking in the cage.